Well, let's talk about Meghan and Harry, shall we? This has just come in. This is interesting. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have been brutally mocked.
What could possibly unite Meghan Markle's ex-husband and her estranged father? One is a savvy Hollywood producer, an insider who navigated the ruthless corridors of the entertainment industry and knew her before a single camera flash illuminated her path to fame. The other is a retired lighting director, a man living a quiet life in Mexico, an outsider to the gilded world she now inhabits. They come from entirely different universes, separated by years, experience, and circumstance, yet they have reportedly broken their silence to tell the exact same chilling story. It's a story that methodically dismantles the global fairy tale, suggesting it was never a fairy tale at all, but a meticulously staged production, rehearsed for decades. As their parallel testimonies surface, Prince Harry is allegedly trapped, not in a palace, but in a prison of his own making, forced to confront a horrifying truth that is dawning in the quiet of his Montecito mansion. The strong, independent, self-made woman he abandoned his family for may have been a character she had been perfecting her entire life, and he was simply cast in the final, starring role.
Historical. Brian says, doesn't history pretty much suck? The Crusades, Hitler, and then Stewie says, Prince Harry marrying Meghan Markle.
Variety, power of women, red carpet teasing some of their projects, sitting with other powerful women at that event. And what they have become is ultimately a punch.
Long before she ever met a prince, Meghan Markle was allegedly studying for the parts. According to a growing chorus of voices from her past, classmates, friends, and even former teachers, her fixation on the British royal family was not a casual childhood dream, but a deeply rooted, almost academic ambition. Her ultimate role model wasn't just any celebrity, it was Princess Diana. But her fascination was not with Diana the victim, but with Diana the master strategist. She allegedly studied how Diana used the media as a tool, how she cultivated a humanitarian image to build a global platform, and how she commanded the world stage with a blend of vulnerability and steel. This was, by some accounts, a blueprint, a detailed step-by-step guide on how to leverage charm and perceived hardship to achieve unparalleled fame and influence. This wasn't passive admiration, it was active preparation. Classmates from her exclusive Catholic high school recall her vowing, with an unnerving and prophetic sense of certainty, that she would be famous one day and perhaps even a princess. It wasn't treated as a joke. The most telling detail, whispered in interviews by former friends, comes from the story of her vision boards. They weren't the typical teenage collages of pop stars and fashion trends. They were reportedly meticulously curated altars to ambition, a mosaic of clippings featuring royal weddings, glamorous state dinners, and powerful celebrity headlines. Some sources claim her drama school performances were more than a hobby. They were rehearsals for a life in the public eye. Every gesture, every speech was practice. This wasn't a girl with a dream. This was a strategist mapping out a multi-decade campaign, long before the world knew her name.
Not making enough. They're going to have to find something else to do. Now, he keeps talking about launching a commercial project, doesn't he? When is he planning to do that? Didn't he say in the spring or something?
We'll have to wait. It's like, oh, here they are, teasing something that never happens again.
Well,
American Riviera Orchard.
American Riviera Orchard. I did tell you. I told you that would never start. Meet me at the...
A central pillar of Meghan's carefully constructed public identity is the narrative of her struggle. In countless interviews, and most powerfully in her bombshell sit-down with Oprah, she painted a vivid picture of a scrappy, hard-working biracial girl from a broken home who fought against the odds for every opportunity. She spoke of waitressing to make ends meet and paying her own way through college, crafting an inspiring and deeply relatable story of a self-made woman. But her own father, Thomas Markle, has furiously and repeatedly branded this entire narrative a masterpiece of fiction. He insists her upbringing was not one of hardship, but of immense and consistent privilege. He claims to have funded her entire elite education, from the exclusive private schools of her youth to covering the full, hefty tuition at the prestigious Northwestern University. Beyond tuition, Thomas states he provided a safety net that allowed her to pursue her dreams without the burden of debt that crushes so many aspiring actors. He gave her a car, an allowance for living expenses, and supported her financially as she navigated unpaid internships and minor roles. He even used his own Hollywood connections as a respected lighting director to help her land her first auditions. She never struggled a day in her life. He has reportedly declared, his frustration mixing with a deep sense of betrayal. "She had everything a child could want or need. I paid for everything, and I have the bank statements and canceled checks to prove it." In his view, the narrative of struggle was the most crucial part of her costume, a story she needed to sell the role of the underdog to a world that loves a rags-to-riches tale.
With the launch of each and every one of these products, and there's not enough product available, don't you expect more from Netflix?
I would, if I thought that they were very...
If Thomas Markle funded her past, it was her first husband, Hollywood producer Trevor Engelson, who had a front row seat to her ambitious future. They were a team for nearly a decade, a partnership that began when she was still an unknown. He was more than a husband. He was allegedly a mentor, a champion, and a key strategist who invested his time, his connections, and his belief in her potential. He reportedly saw her transform from a hopeful actress into a relentless and calculating social climber. Trevor has allegedly confided in friends that the sweet, down-to-earth woman the world saw was a masterfully crafted persona. Behind the scenes, he claims, she was relentlessly strategic, always operating with one foot out the door, her eyes constantly scanning for the next more powerful connection, the next career-defining upgrade.
He is a broken individual who is so completely lost, looking for the next hit, the next bong hit, allegedly. I don't want to get in trouble.
But you can say it. I mean, the guy, he keeps admitting it himself, so yeah. 5%. I mean, as you said, it's rocket fuel.
Yeah, Elon Musk is calling her going, "How much can I get? I've got to, I'm trying to get it all the way to Mars."
Can you snort it? That's what he's asking.
No, that's what Harry's asking, allegedly.
Yeah.
A friend of Trevor's shared a chilling assessment that has echoed through Hollywood circles. She used people like rungs on a ladder. She was an expert at climbing, and once you were no longer useful to her ascent, you were kicked away without a second thought. The brutal, cold end of their marriage stands as the most damning evidence of this alleged pattern. After years together, after he had helped her land her breakout role on Suits, Trevor was reportedly left completely blindsided and devastated. There was no difficult conversation, no tearful farewell, no closure. He simply received a package in the mail. Inside, he found the diamond wedding and engagement rings he had given her, a decade of shared memories, erased by the postal service. It was a clear, final, and impersonal message. His role in her story was over. It was a tactic of ruthless detachment that she would allegedly perfect and deploy again and again. As her star began to ascend with Suits, Meghan allegedly initiated a systematic and merciless purge of her past. This wasn't just about moving on, it was about curating her history. According to estranged family members, she began to methodically excise every person from her life who didn't align with the polished, aspirational brand she was constructing. It was a cold, calculated operation to eliminate uncontrolled variables. She reportedly ghosted her own maternal grandmother, a woman who had been a significant and loving figure in her life. She told her siblings, with whom she had once been in regular contact, to stop trying to reach her. Thomas claims it was as if they had all become instantly disposable, an embarrassing footnote from a life she was trying to rewrite.
I hate you guys, but I'm going to sell all of these things that are culturally connected to you and the British royal family.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. I mean, I just think inherent in all of this, so as a couple, they won't come back.
This strategic purge wasn't limited to family. Her childhood best friend of over 30 years, Nanaki Pretty, who had been her maid of honor at her wedding to Trevor, was also abruptly and completely cut off without a word of explanation. The pattern was becoming terrifyingly clear as Meghan climbed higher. She wasn't just moving forward, she was kicking away the very ladder that got her there. Each severed tie was another old photograph burned, another voice from the past silenced, ensuring that no one who knew the old Meghan could ever contradict the new globally recognized brand she was selling to the world. Her past was becoming a collection of locked rooms, and she held the only key. Into this carefully managed world stepped Prince Harry. He was not just a prince, he was the perfect audience. A man scarred by the tragic loss of his mother, haunted by her treatment at the hands of the press, and deeply disillusioned with his role inside the royal machine. He was a prince in exile within his own palace, desperate for an anchor and a purpose. Meghan's story was perfectly tailored to his deepest wounds and desires. She presented herself as a fellow outsider, a fighter who had also faced down a hostile establishment and relentless press scrutiny. She offered him not just love, but a partnership in a noble cause, a shared mission to take on the world, just the two of them. She offered him a way out that felt like a crusade. According to royal insiders, a chorus of alarm bells began to ring throughout the palace. Senior aides and even his own brother Prince William expressed grave concerns. They allegedly warned Harry that he was moving at a reckless speed, that he was committing his life to a woman whose background was full of inconsistencies and whose past they couldn't fully verify. But Harry, completely captivated by her narrative and emboldened by a lifetime of feeling misunderstood, refused to listen. A former royal aide summarized the situation with stark clarity. Meghan sold him a story of a life he desperately wanted, and he bought it wholesale. He defended her against everyone. It became his identity. Now he's in so deep he can't see a way to get out clean without destroying himself. Now the meticulously constructed walls of their shared reality are cracking under immense pressure. The shocking alignment of stories from her ex-husband in Hollywood and her estranged father in Mexico has reportedly sent seismic tremors through their Montecito life. Sources close to the couple suggest the fallout is not a series of furious, shouting confrontations. It is something far more sinister and silent. Harry is said to have retreated into himself, becoming brooding, seething, and quieter than ever before. He is reportedly confronting not an angry spouse, but something far worse: the slow, sickening internal realization that his entire rebellion, his dramatic escape, and his marriage might be built on a foundation of expertly crafted lies. The truth he proclaimed to the world may have been the biggest deception of all. The revelations are the ultimate betrayal because they come from the two men who knew her most intimately before he ever did. Each new headline is another crack in the facade, forcing him to replay every conversation, every promise, searching for the clues he so desperately ignored. The final damning picture is not one of harmless ambition. It is a chilling, consistent pattern of alleged behavior that spans decades, from a teenager's vision board mapping out a path to a palace, to a ruthless social climb paved with the discarded bodies of relationships. Meghan Markle didn't just stumble into the royal family, she allegedly built a strategic, deliberate pathway to it, one calculated move at a time. Prince Harry, the lonely prince desperate for a different life, may not have been her soulmate, but her crowning achievement. The fairy tale has now fully shattered, replaced by a grim and unsettling reality. The only question that remains, as the world watches, is not whether Harry was deceived, but what he will do now that the mask has slipped. Staying means living the lie and losing what's left of himself. Leaving means admitting public defeat and that the entire world was right. The final act is yet to be written, and everyone is waiting to see if the prince will finally break his own chains.